Welcome to our course on fundamentals of game design and gameplay. We're discussing storytelling and narrative aspect of game design, how to incorporate stories and narratives into game. There are 6 videos before this video, so please try to watch them. So I'll be moving to slide 30. So it's about game story endings. I think how does a story end has an enormous effect on the emotion of the player, and also like the book readers or the movie watchers, it's also true for the games. So as a game designer, you should craft your game in such a way so that it evokes specific emotional feelings at the end of the game. Now, how many endings should your story have? It should be one or it should be multiple. I think as a designer, you have to decide it early in the game, maybe in the elaboration phase, and also decide how to go about that. Now, if your game story involves lots of decision making, especially dramatically or morally important decision making, I think in that case the story should be non-linear and you can offer multiple endings. And also the player's actions and the ending of the game or the outcome should reflect. If the player take good decisions or does good actions, so the result should be positive. When you should use multiple endings of a game story, I think if your story provides lots of dramatic freedom, then you can try to use multiple endings, but each of the endings should be dramatically meaningful and emotionally consistent as a story and also as part of the as an outcome of the actions of the players. Now, how frequently you can weave or incorporate narrative elements or story elements into the game. I think the concepts are coarse-grained and fine-grained. For example, in Starcraft, it's a long game having many different levels, where each of the level includes 20 or 30 minutes of play, and when you move one level to another, the designer involves some sort of story or some cutscene, something like that. So it's kind of coarse granularity after 20 or 30 minutes, but fine granularity if the narrative elements or the storytelling is too frequent, then it can be told fine granular of storytelling. I think if we could make stories like that, the story is so involved, so integrated with the game that the player does not understand or does not understand any feel or any type of interruption just to introduce the game. That could be a good thing, and that is called infinitesimal fine granularity. If we can accept that, that's good, but in real life we may not be able to accept this always, or maybe based on the type of game it may not be always accept. But one thing, it's better that it's fine, but it has to be integrated. But if it is not integrated with the gameplay, maybe sometimes the coarse grained is better if it goes with the story, simply because players don't sit idle and watch the gameplay or watch the story, they just want to interact, so you have to think about. I think granularity, it's about something relative, one game to another, and what exactly makes it fine, what exactly makes it coarse, there is no specific time amount. Anyway, how can you advance the plot game plot, or the how dramatically or how frequent, or what are the mechanisms you can use to propagate, to run through the game story. I think there are three different strategies. One is the story. You can represent it as a series of challenges and choices, and the story as a journey, the story as a drama. In case of challenges and choices, I think if the player can succeed in overcoming some challenge, the story will move, otherwise it would stay within the same plot. And as a journey, I think the story will run, and the player will go from one place to another place, room to room, or through one world to another world, and as part of it he will also get involved with the gameplay. And in terms of drama, it can be in the same plot, but in the same room or same area, the story or the plot can change. I think the user interface can change, the gameplay can change, but it will be usually like a drama with some time limited or time oriented. With time the plot will change and the story will move. Okay, in challenges and choices, as we have just told, it will advance only when the player meet challenges or make decisions. Plot change and game history movement will happen at when the player meets those challenges. Wing Commander, this is one of the examples. Story as a journey. The avatars trigger the storytelling engine to advance the plot. I think when the player moves from one room to another room, or one world to another world, goes from here to there, just takes a journey. So as a sequence, as a part of his movement, the story also moves, and in new places he sees different challenges or new stuff, he experiences new stuff, and also the story moves to the next. What is the benefits of a story as a journey? It provides novelty, newness, uniqueness. The player continuously sees new things, and he also experiences fresh and interesting stuff. Allows the player to control the pace of the game, or the frequency, or the time he will take to move from one plot to another plot, and those kind of stuff. But sometimes you can also make it time limited to make some extra challenge for the player. And sometimes in journey based games, the designers use one way door concept, so that if the player goes to the other side of the door, he cannot reverse back, he has to move forward, and he has to travel through the journey, travel through the game plots. In role-playing games, those are usually implemented as journeys and usually highly non-linear. And in the strategy of a story as a drama, the story plot or game plot will change or advance with the passage of time itself. Not necessarily the player will move or go through a journey, but when the time passes, the scene, the game plot will automatically change, irrespective whatever the player does. If he does something good or can overcome some challenges, he will get some reward, otherwise he will not get any reward or any point. Story will take place in real time, no trigger from the core mechanics to the storytelling engine. It will just go step by step. Night Trap, it's a game that works as a drama. I think as a player, your job is to protect the teenagers from monsters. You have to watch different camera views. The story advances with time, but if you can protect them, you gain point, otherwise you lose point. Now, emotional limits of interactive stories. Interactive stories, we are referring to the game stories because they are interactive.